Hello, I want to tell you a story I wish I could forget, but I can't. And this is true. I know you'll think I'm crazy. You'll say, this is just a story, but it's not. This happened. I lived it. And even now, 10 years later, I still feel it watching me. I live in Hong Kong. My life was normal. Wake up, work hard, support my family. That's all I ever did. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. No parties, no vacations, just survival. I didn't have time to dream. Reality was already heavy enough. But now, reality doesn't feel real anymore. Because that night, something changed. Something took me. And now, I don't know if I ever truly escaped. Let me tell you what happened. Even as I'm typing this, I'm shaking. I worked hard. Too hard. I was the only child. My parents were getting older, and I wanted to give them a better life. Every day was the same. Wake up at 7 a.m. Go to work at 8 a.m. Get home at midnight. Sleep. Repeat. I was always tired. Always exhausted. But I told myself, one day, it will all be worth it. I believed that, until that night. The night that I disappeared. It was late. Too late. I had just finished work. My body aching. My mind drained. The streets of Mongkok were still alive, crowded with people. But something felt off. I don't know how to explain it. The air felt wrong. Not cold. Not warm. Just heavy. Like something was pressing down on me. I ignored it. I told myself I was just tired. I checked my phone. 1:15 a.m. The last train was coming soon. I walked faster. I just wanted to go home. But then, as I passed an alleyway, I stopped. I don't know why, but my body just froze. A feeling hit me, deep, instinctual. Something was watching me. I turned my head slowly. The alley was pitch black. Nothing there. At least that's what I thought. Then I heard it. A whisper. Low. Too low to understand. My whole body tensed. I turned back to the street, walking faster. I didn't look back, but I could feel it. Something following me. Not footsteps. Something else. Something wrong. I felt a pressure at the back of my neck, like cold fingers brushing my skin. I walked faster. Faster. The lights above me flickered. And then, for just a second, I swore I saw my shadow move the wrong way. That's when I started running. Straight toward the MRT station. Straight into the nightmare. I stood on the platform, waiting. The station was quiet. Too quiet. It wasn't completely empty, but something about the air felt wrong. There were people waiting for the train, but no one spoke. No one moved. They just stood there, still, like statues. I checked my phone. 1:23 a.m. The last train would arrive soon. I shifted my weight from one foot to the other, trying to shake off the uneasiness creeping into my bones. Then the train arrived. The headlights cut through the darkness, flickering slightly, as if struggling to stay on. The train doors slid open, and at that moment, something inside me screamed, "Do not take this train." The voice in my head was sharp, clear, urgent, like an instinct buried deep in my soul. I should have listened. I should have turned around and walked away. But I didn't. I was tired. I just wanted to go home. So I stepped inside. And the moment I did, everything changed. The doors slammed shut behind me with a heavy, final thud. The temperature dropped instantly. I shivered, pulling my jacket tighter. Why was it so cold? Not normal cold. Not air conditioning cold. A deep, unnatural cold that crawled under my skin, sinking into my bones like ice. I could see my breath in the air. The fluorescent lights buzzed softly, flickering above me. The train felt empty, but I wasn't alone. At least I didn't think I was. There were passengers. They sat in their seats, heads slightly lowered. They weren't moving. They weren't talking. They weren't even breathing. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to look at my phone. Maybe I was just imagining things. Maybe I was just tired. The screen glowed in the darkness. 1:25 a.m. I sighed. Just a few more stops, and I'd be home. I leaned back against the seat, closed my eyes, and whispered to myself, just for a moment. I woke up. The moment I opened my eyes, I knew something was wrong. Too silent. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring. No train noises. No announcements. No sound at all. Just nothing. My heartbeat quickened. I sat up. I was alone. The other passengers? Gone. No bags. No footprints. No signs they had ever been there. I swallowed, my throat dry. What the hell is going on? I looked out the window, expecting to see the blurred lights of Hong Kong's cityscape. But there was nothing. The city was gone. No buildings. No tunnels. No streets. Just an endless, shapeless void. I whispered to myself, "Where am I?" Then, I looked up at the screen above the doors. It wasn't showing station names anymore. The text flickered, glitching, rearranging itself into something impossible. Then the words appeared. Next stop, Satanic silent. The dark of the evil. I froze. A sick feeling spread through my chest. That wasn't real. That wasn't anywhere in Hong Kong. That wasn't anywhere in this world. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands. I dialed my mom's number. A robotic voice answered, "This number does not exist." I tried again. Same message. I dialed my dad. "This number does not exist." A sharp panic stabbed through my chest. I dialed 999, the police. "This number does not exist." I tried texting. No signal. I wasn't just lost. I was erased. I looked up at the screen again. Next stop, Satanic silent. The dark of the evil. The words pulsed, glowing faintly, as if they were breathing. And then, a sound. A deep, demonic voice echoed through the empty train. Next stop, Satanic silent. The voice was low, distorted, unnatural. I clamped my hands over my ears. No, 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 no. The train suddenly jerked forward, throwing me against the metal pole. Then it began to slow down. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Inside the train. Slow. Heavy. Deliberate. Not mine. Not from outside. Inside. I held my breath. I couldn't turn around. Step. 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 The train lurched again. Slower. Slower. Until it came to a full stop. And then the footsteps stopped too. The doors hissed open. A gust of freezing air rushed in. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to look outside. It was a station, but not like any station I had ever seen before. The walls were dark, cracked concrete, covered in strange, glowing symbols. There were no people, no signs, no announcements, just a cold, empty station. And I knew I had to step out. I had no choice. And the moment I did, I would never be the same again. Before I continue, you need to understand something. I have been cursed. A satanic black magic curse. The dark chose me. And now, I don't know if I'll ever escape. I stepped out of the train. The moment my foot touched the platform, a wave of ice-cold air wrapped around me. I shivered. The air was thick, like smoke, but I could still breathe. The station was wrong. The walls weren't like any MRT station in Hong Kong. They were black, cracked concrete, covered in glowing symbols that seemed to move when I looked at them. I turned my head. There was no one. The station was empty, but I wasn't alone. I felt it. Presence. Something watching me. My heart pounded against my ribs. My breath came out in short, sharp gasps. I turned around. Everything was black. Not like the lights were off. Not like a dark tunnel. Just nothing. Like I had stepped out of reality itself. I felt a sudden pressure in my skull, like whispers crawling inside my brain. Then, before I could react, everything went dark. I woke up. I was lying on something hard and freezing. The air was stale, damp, suffocating. I tried to move, but my hands and feet were chained. No, 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 no. I gasped, struggling, my breathing turning into sharp, panicked sobs. Hello! My voice echoed in the darkness. Please, let me go. No response. I screamed. I screamed until my throat burned. Then, I heard it. Something moving in the dark. A slow, deliberate sound. Step, step, step. It was coming toward me. The air grew heavier. I squeezed my eyes shut. I didn't want to see it. Then, the voice. Low, cold, wrong. You cannot leave. I snapped my eyes open, and I saw her, the devil, or something worse. She stood in front of me, barely visible in the candlelight. Her long, black hair hung down past her waist, matted and tangled, moving as if alive. Her skin was pale, almost gray, with deep cracks along her arms and neck, like her body was made of broken porcelain. But her eyes, her red, glowing eyes, they weren't just red. They were burning, like there was something alive inside them, something ancient and evil. And her mouth, her smile, it stretched too wide, revealing rows of jagged, blackened teeth. When she smiled, her skin cracked, deep black veins spreading across her face. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I could only stare. Then she spoke. Her voice was sweet, too sweet, like rotten fruit. You belong to us now. I shook my head violently. No, please, let me go. Her smile widened. She crouched down, moving unnaturally, her head tilting slightly as if studying me. Her hair slithered against the ground, curling like it had a life of its own. Then she whispered, "You have been chosen." I felt something cold slide over my skin. I jerked away, trembling. What do you mean? Why are you doing this to me? Her eyes darkened. Because we were told to. I froze. I didn't understand. Who told you? She leaned in close, her lips almost touching my ear. I could smell something rotten, something dead. Then, she whispered the words that made my entire soul collapse. Someone you know. I felt sick. I shook my head. No. I wanted to believe she was lying. But something in my gut told me she wasn't. I tried to scream, but my voice died in my throat. She stood up, towering over me. Then, she raised her hand. Her nails were long, jagged, like black claws. She traced one down my cheek, and I felt a burning sensation. A mark. Curse. I tried to pull away, but the chains held me still. She smiled. Now we begin. Then the room began to change. The walls started moving, shifting like something was alive inside them. The candles burned higher, the flames turning black. I could hear whispers. Something was coming, something worse than her. And I knew I wasn't going to survive this. They dragged me. I was too weak to fight. My body was burning, aching, shaking. I didn't know where they were taking me. I didn't even know if I was still alive. The hallways twisted and stretched like something out of a nightmare. The walls were made of black stone, pulsating as if they were alive. The air was thick with the stench of burning flesh. Then I saw the room. A massive pentagram was drawn on the cold stone floor, glowing deep red, like it had been burned into the ground itself. At each point of the pentagram, there was a candle, but the flames were black. I was thrown onto the center of the symbol. I hit the ground hard. My hands and feet were bound. I tried to move, but something held me down. Then they came. 20 figures, tall, hunched, writhing. They surrounded me, forming a perfect circle. Their black robes moved like shadows, flickering, shifting. But it was their faces. They had none. No eyes, no mouths. Just smooth, featureless darkness where their faces should be. Except for one. One of them stepped forward, holding a book. It was massive, bound in old, rotting leather. The pages looked like skin. When he opened it, the air grew heavier. Couldn't breathe. Then they began to chant. The sound wasn't human. It was deep, guttural, like something speaking from the bottom of a grave. I didn't understand the words, but my body did. The moment they started chanting, I felt it. Pain, ripping through me like knives. I screamed, but no sound came out. I tried to beg, to plead for mercy, but I couldn't speak. The world was silent, and that's when I understood. This is why they call it Satanic silent, the dark of the evil. One of them stepped forward. He held a blade. The metal glowed red-hot, symbols etched into the surface. He knelt beside me. I tried to struggle. Then, a sharp, burning pain. The blade sliced across my skin, drawing blood. couldn't scream. I couldn't move. My body convulsed. The blood dripped onto the pentagram, and as soon as it touched the floor, the candles flared. The flames turned blue. The chanting grew louder. My body felt like it was being ripped apart. Something was inside me, crawling, burning, changing me. Then one of them stepped forward. He pressed something against my shoulder. A searing, unbearable heat shot through me. I smelled burning flesh. I realized they were branding me. I was being marked. I thrashed, but the pain was unbearable. Then one of them whispered, "This curse will be with you forever. You cannot stop it." I blacked out. I woke up gasping. I was back on the train. But this time, the world outside wasn't black. I saw lights, buildings, Hong Kong. The train was moving normally. I looked around. There were people, ordinary people, talking, laughing, looking at their phones, like nothing had happened. I clutched my shoulder. The pain was still there. I pulled my sleeve down, and my blood ran cold. The burned mark was still on my skin. It wasn't a dream. It was real. The train pulled into the station. I heard voices. Someone was yelling. I looked up. There were police officers. A man pointed at me. "She's the missing girl." I froze. The missing girl? I stepped off the train, confused, dizzy. That's when I saw it. Poster. Old. Faded. It had my face on it. Missing. Date. 10 years ago. I stared at it. My chest tightened. No, that's not possible. I just took the train a few hours ago. A hand grabbed my wrist. It was my mother. Her eyes were filled with tears. She was older, much older than I remembered. "Where have you been?" she sobbed. My father was there too. He was crying. I opened my mouth to speak, but I didn't know what to say. I had only been gone one night, but for them, I had been missing for 10 years. I didn't know who did this to me. I tried to figure it out, but I never could. And then I realized, maybe I wasn't supposed to. I only told my parents what happened. They didn't believe me. They told me I must have been kidnapped, brainwashed, lost my memory. But I knew the truth. I knew what really happened. I kept my secret. I tried to move on, but I never did, because the curse never left me. Every night when I close my eyes, I still hear them. I still see her. I still feel the mark burning into my skin. And sometimes, when I look in the mirror, I swear I see my shadow move the wrong way. So please, be careful. Don't take the last train. And if you ever hear a voice in your head saying, "Do not take this train," listen, because once you step inside, you will never truly come back. I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm not telling this story to convince you. I'm telling it so you don't make the same mistake. I was missing for 10 years. I lost everything. And the worst part? I'm still not sure if I ever really escaped. Because some nights, when I close my eyes, I still wake up on that train. And when I open my eyes, I see the same screen flickering. The words pulsing like a heartbeat. Next stop, Satanic Silent. The dark of the evil. And I know that one day, the train will come for me again. And next time, I won't be able to escape.